Today I will be showcasing my endgame build for Vayne, a character that surprised me because not only is he the best tank in the entire game, capable of putting down a shield to protect the entire party for a very large duration, so that even the harder mechanics from the strongest enemies in the game become a joke to your team, he is also capable of dishing out crazy damage output. I seriously did not expect Vayne to be this powerful of a character, because in my head it just doesn't make any sense that the best tank can also be a very powerful offensive character, but here we are. So with that being said, hello everyone, my name is Dark Hero, and welcome back to another build showcase. If you guys are enjoying my build videos, please subscribe to the channel and let me know which character I should cover next. Now Vayne is a pretty simple character all things considered. His basic attack combo is this 3-hit combo, very simple, and it gives him a little bit of his gauge. This gauge is going to be depleted each time you use your triangle attacks, but what you want to do is finish off his basic combo and then use your triangle attacks as combo finishers, like so. And you can even use them after a link attack, which will increase them a lot faster. These triangle attacks have a very special property, as each time you use these triangle attacks, the game considers Vayne as being blocking at the same time. And once your meter is fully maxed out, you can unleash this very long but very powerful combo. In most cases, a combo being long is kinda bad because you have to avoid incoming attacks and whatnot, but in the case of Vayne, the combo being long is not bad at all, because you'll be blocking the entire time you're doing this combo, and so that allows you to be much more aggressive compared to other characters. Another very cool thing about Vayne is that whenever you do a triangle attack with a combo finisher, you'll be able to heal some of your HP, so that makes Vayne even more of a sustained character without you having to rely on any sort of healer on your team. Additionally, Vayne can go from any of his offensive skills into a combo finisher, which will let him heal even a bit more. So let's go ahead and use Heroic Beat, which is this gap closer that heals you for a little bit, and then you can follow it up with a combo finisher. Very simple but powerful stuff. Arm Destruction is this big powerful blast that has heavy stun power, which means that it is perfect for breaking shields and for breaking parts as well. Rift Divider is this multi-slash combo where Vayne pulls in enemies while doing all of this, and at the end you can follow it up with a finisher. Very cool. Having the ability to pull in enemies can be very useful not only in horde missions, but in boss fights in Maniac as well, where a lot of ads start to spawn, and being able to clear them while fighting the boss is going to be very valuable. And the final offensive skill for Vayne is Energy Destruction, where he does this big powerful hit that deals more damage depending on how much SBA gauge you have. It's a very powerful hit, but it has a very big downside, and that is that you have to have your SBA gauge be full. If you're playing in multiplayer, chances are that many players will activate their SBA gauge before you activate yours if you aren't the first to get it, so right there you may encounter some issues with you getting the most out of this attack. Additionally, if you are playing online with a powerful team, or even solo and you have built your characters well enough, a lot of fights will simply end before you have the chance to use your SBA gauge. Yes, even on Maniac difficulty. If you saw my Vaseraga build showcase, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And every single time I play with Rurikhan and a couple of our mates, we're able to demolish pretty much any sort of content that the game throws at us, and we're even able to clear some Maniac quests in a minute or two. So that makes Energy Destruction a lot less consistent, and so it is a skill that I don't like taking on Vayne. That being said, the rest of Vayne's skills are actually quite powerful, with Breakthrough increasing your attack by 30% and also giving you Hostility, which is a self-taunt, making the enemies more likely to attack Vayne. A very useful skill to have, especially since Vayne is the best tank in the game, and he has so much self-sustain that having more enemies attack him, with him being able to block while he is attacking and healing at the same time, makes this skill very useful. Drakenschultz is yet another self-buff, which will increase Vayne's attack and defense by 30% and also give him Guts, which lets him survive lethal damage with 1 HP left. And from what I have tested, this Guts buff does not expire on its own, so as long as you don't take lethal damage with Vayne, you're always going to have that extra safety net available. And Soul Eruption is yet another self-buff, however, you can only use it when you are below 30% HP, and when you use it, it heals you back up to full, cleanses you of any debuffs you may have and increases your attack and defense by 50%. It's an extremely powerful buff that also allows Vayne to be a lot more sustainable on his own and allows for you to have a team composition where you don't even have a healer, because Vayne will be the main tank. He'll be able to power through most attacks while also healing at the same time. And Vayne's final skill is Rampart, where you're able to place this shield down and anyone that stands inside it is going to be invincible for its whole duration. This is perfect to avoid any of the big AoE mechanics that a lot of bosses, especially in the endgame, like to use, and so they'll become a little bit of a joke. And as you can see, the shield is about to run out, but the invisibility period will linger for a little bit, letting you move out of the way, reposition yourself, and still avoid some extra attacks. So depending on the type of content that I'm doing and whether or not I'm playing in multiplayer, I may or may not take Rampart with me, though you don't have to worry about the AI, they will actually stand within Rampart. It's just that whenever I'm playing solo, more often than not I like to take Arms Destruction, which is a very powerful skill that will also allow me to break parts to be able to complete the side objectives to get the S++ on all missions. Now let's go over my endgame build for Vayne, because there are actually quite a few differences and things that you can adjust to get the most out of this character. Now, as for your damaging sigils, damage cap is going to be your priority. More often than not, you want to max out this skill, because otherwise you're going to easily hit the damage cap, especially if your character is high level and you have most of the offensive masteries and your weapon is leveled up. Additionally, because a lot of Vayne's gameplay is all about hitting those combo finishers, well, the sigil combo finisher is going to be perfect for him, with this sigil increasing their damage dealt up to 50% at max level. Additionally, because Vayne has so much self-sustain and you don't need to have a healer on your party, I like to use the Sigil Life on the line for him, as it will boost your attack, going up to 50% more attack at max level, although you won't be able to heal from your allies, but again, that won't be a problem for Vayne. Stun Power can also be a very useful skill for him, especially if you go with Arm Destruction, so you can get those part breaks and reach that S++. As you can see, my Vayne is currently like this. I have 6 different damage caps, which gives me damage cap level 61. I have 2 combo finisher 5s, which when maxed out are going to be both at level 15, at which point I'll have combo finisher level 30, but for now it's only at level 22. I also mentioned why I like to take Stun Power, and Overdrive Assassin is also a very powerful offensive skill, which will boost your damage at level 11 by 54% whenever enemies are in overdrive, which, especially in the endgame, is going to be for most of the quest. And once this sigil is leveled up, it'll be level 15, at which point I'll get a 70% damage dealt increase. And again, with just 5 Overdrive Assassin sigils leveled up to the maximum, I would be able to put this at level 30. Which would quite simply double my damage output. Finally, I have Provoker on here, which makes enemies more likely to target me, giving me 27 hostility. Now, I don't know exactly just how powerful 27 hostility is, but given that I want Vayne to be targeted by enemies, this is a nice sigil to add. That being said, whenever I play solo and I want to go with Vayne as my main character, I often replace Provoke with either Aegis, which will raise my maximum health, and Aegis is actually more beneficial than simply using the health sigil. As you can see with Aegis 5, at level 11 I would go up to 36k HP, and with health 5, also at level 11, I would go up to only 30k HP. There is also the option to go with Vayne's own signature sigil, with Hero's Will, decreasing Vayne's skill cooldowns after landing a combo finisher. The 3% decrease is a nice quality of life improvement. I'm still not sure if it is a sigil that I would like to use, because for the most part, Vayne's skills either have a very short cooldown, especially the offensive ones, or when it comes to the big defensive dome, or the skill that you can only use when you are below 30% HP and heals you back up to full. Those two are the ones that have very long cooldowns. Very often you can only use one of those per quest, and so I feel like this sigil would only help me get out those skills more often, which could be good, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Personally, I would like to have a more offensive sigil, and his other signature sigil, Hero's Creed, will grant a damage cut to Vayne after landing a combo finisher by 20% for 15 seconds, which means that you can have a 20% damage reduction with almost a 100% uptime, since 15 seconds is a very long time, and so you'll be able to have this very easily. But so far I haven't found the need to use this, because again, Vayne is such a tanky unit, but if you are making Vayne your main tank, and if you are having trouble with some high-end content, this may be the sigil to run on him. As for my weapon, I am using my Ascension weapon. I still need to ascend it and upgrade it all the way, and the rest of my weapons are not doing too well, but that's because very often I use Vayne as a tank, and I don't run him as my main character very often. And of course, if you have Krabby Resonance at max level, you're going to want to slot that in. Now let's go ahead and take Vayne into a Maniac level quest. So we're up against a Maniac level Infernadile. It should be a pretty easy quest, as we'll be able to power through pretty much anything he throws at us. So let's go ahead and use Draken Schultz to buff our damage, and keep on doing some combo finishers. Now that he's slowed, let's go ahead and keep on the aggression. I was not fast enough to finish that and go into a link attack. As you can see, I'm able to power through that charge. Go ahead and use Arms Destruction, and combo that into a combo finisher. Trying to break all of the destructible parts. Nice. Our gauge is almost all the way filled up. We're able to power through that. And again, we still have plenty of health, so we're pretty fine. We just have to keep on dealing damage. Now I'm not going to cancel this combo because he does have some gap closers in the middle of it. So you're still able to land it at the end, like so. So we still haven't been blown back by anything, and now that we finished our combo, we gained Stout Heart for a little bit. Already HP decreased, so we're going to go ahead and use Soul Eruption. And now we have 50% more attack and defense as well. Let's wait for Infernadile. And dash in and go for some big damage. Again, trying to break as many parts as possible. Big link attacks. And right there I was not doing one of my triangle attacks, which is why I was interrupting. I forgot to even disable Cagliostro's heal, which was totally not needed because, again, I'm not going to rely on any healers with Vayne, and we already have our SPA gauge all the way full. Let's keep on doing damage while we wait for the rest of our team to have higher SPA gauge so we can use it. I'm waiting for Lancelot to be at 85 or 90%. Speaking of Lancelot, he goes ahead and freezes Infernadile right there. We're almost at 100% in our link as well, which is very, very good. We break one of the arms. The head should almost be broken as well. Big damage. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the SBA here. A very flashy animation with a big hit at the end. Lancelot is going to follow that up. You can also use the gap closer and any of these skills simply to get the gauge back up quickly. And now Cagliostro is gonna finish that off. Big damage output. Trying to target the head so I can break it. And we got all the destructible parts. And now that we have a link time, we can simply spam the triangle attack. We're going to be dealing tons of damage. And if we're able to finish off the combo without killing Infernadile, not quite, we do finish him off with the big combo finisher. But I was about to say that if you are within the link time, you can actually keep on using the triangle attack, and the gauge will still be all the way full, it will not be spent, so you can keep up with your aggression. And there you have it, that was my guide and build showcase for Vayne, one of the absolute best characters in the entire game. He is an easy recommendation for everybody to get him, as I really do believe that it does complement pretty much any team in the entire game very well. So hopefully you have enjoyed this build showcase and guide, and let me know which characters you'd like me to cover next. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, my name is Dark Hero, and as always, happy hunting!